Hello everybody, long time no video, real life's been getting in the way again, but I thought I'd do a brief update to tell you what I've been up to. I had a 7 years war army in 15mm Prussians, and the project fell away at the club I'm at, and so I ended up getting rid of them, and I sold them, strange enough, to a gentleman in Germany. And I'd not painted 15mm for absolutely years, and I made a reasonable job of them and he was happy with them. I'd actually got some cavalry packs left over, and so I rather foolishly offered to paint them as a commission job for him. It's effectively 4 units of 12, so we're looking at a relatively modest number of figures. What you see here is the second units that I've nearly finished, thank God. I never realised that I hated painting 15mm figures as much as I do until I actually came to paint these. They're Old Glory figures, they're very nice, but being used to painting 28mm figures, I just really can't get my head round doing 15s. The detail on these sculpts is quite good. But it just seems so pointless to me trying to paint the detail, because unless you pick the things up and look at them closely, you can't really see it from a war games point of view. But obviously I want to do the best job I can for this chap, and so I'm giving it a fair amount of time, which isn't reflected in what I've charged him, because I'm not a business person. I just did it for as a gesture for another war gamer. Anyway, that's the second unit, which are hussars. They are in fact the second hussars, I believe. So they are almost finished. I'm hoping to get them finished later on today. I'll then look at basing them, and that will be unit number 2 out of the way, with only 2 more units. He's not focusing too well, sorry about that. With only 2 more units to go. So that's one project that I'm on. The thing is that whilst I'm doing these, I've actually held up my own projects, and I think I mentioned before I'm not a particularly quick painter, so having to stop to do these is a bit of an interruption to my painting mojo. But anyway, that's the second unit, and if you give me a minute, I'll show you the first unit. Okay, so here we have the first unit I painted. These are dragoons. I think they're the 10th dragoons. Yeah, they are in fact the 10th dragoons. I've even tried to put the labels in German for him, so it's a bit of authenticity. I'm quite pleased with how these have turned out. Again, they're all glory figures. There's no flag, because the chappie wanted to put his own flag on. And I'd not got one for the 10th Dragoons, but these have turned out quite well, really. As I say, I just can't get this this painting mojo for 15s. I mean, some of the work that you fellas do in the community on these 15mm figures is just staggering. I don't consider myself to be an expert painter by any stretch of the imagination, but I can turn out some reasonable 28mm, but 15s in great detail are really quite staggering. But anyway, that's the Dragoon unit taken care of, and the Hussars over there will be based in a similar fashion. If you're wondering what's wrong with the colours of the horses, I did a bit of research on the colourings. The chappie sent me some prints himself of the Hussars, but I noticed in the research I did on the 7 Years War project that it actually mentions that they all rode either white or grey horses in that unit. So that was a bit of a challenge, because I've never painted white or grey horses before. In fact, you can see in the background there, thanks to Loki's Great Hall, there is a French dragoon trumpeter, which I'm about to start painting. I'm experimenting with him, but thanks to Loki's hints on painting on his videos, which I've carefully kept, I've got the idea of doing some proper grey horses for my French Dragoons. I've got about 30 of those to paint, and I'll show you those in just a sec. Okay, so there are the French Dragoons. I've spray painted them with a sandy colour just to start off. These are a mixture of figures. These are front rank, which I've had these front rank figures probably for about 15 to 20 years, certainly 15 years, and been meaning to get round to painting them. The ones at the back there are I think they're Perry's. Yeah, they are Perry's. Works out with about 30 of them, because I've got some more here which I've lined up and undercoated as well. Now these here, the eagle-eyed amongst you will have noticed, are not in fact anything to do with French Napoleonics. These are American Civil War gunners from the Perry's range. I'll tell you about those in a minute. Over here, where are we? There we are, sorry. These are the Perry figures. Again, the Dragoons. Painted those grey as an undercoat primer, just as a change, really, to see how they accept a green colour. I thought grey might be better than the beige. The beige colour there, by the way, I've done because I use that oil wipe-off technique, and I find that you need a fairly light undercoat if you're going to use the technique, or get the technique to work properly. And so what I tend to do is I tend to do my horses in quite a light undercoat. What I used to do was undercoat them in black and then go over them in a light undercoat, but that seemed to me to be one process too many. So I'm trying doing it this way, and we'll see how they turn out. So anyway, the American Civil War. Now then, Fraser von Ketteringham has got a bit to answer for here, because I saw that he was doing American Civil War figures, and I had American Civil War figures years ago, but I didn't paint them all myself. I actually bought a lot of them, and so I couldn't really identify with them, so I sold them along with all the terrain and all the rest of it. But then when I saw how good the latest figures are for the 7 Years' War, the Perry figures and others, I decided that I might dip my toe in. And then when I saw Fraser's video about his 7 Years' War experience, that encouraged me to get involved as well. I bought the Glory Hallelujah book, which really just added fuel to the fire. And so I ended up buying the Perry's Battle in a Box, which I'll just show you for a moment. So there we go. Perry's Battlefield in a Box. Got it at a very competitive price on Tinternet, and I've started with the artillery. I thought I'd do artillery as a bit of a change rather than starting with infantry. What you see here, which looks like there's been an accident, but what you see here are all the various, well, there are several cannon, and the carriages all undercoated and ready to start. So that's a project which I'm going to start straight away. I've actually put my intended project of Prussian Napoleonics on the back burner for the moment. So I want to kick off with the 7 Years' War. I keep saying 7 Years' War, but I mean American Civil War, as quickly as I can. All the more reason to get rid of those darn 15mm that I'm painting. And finally, it was my birthday in February, and my lovely wife got me a present of the British Army bolt action starter set for the late period, 1944. I've got some Germans from the late period, some here normal Wehrmacht figures, which are painted. And she kindly bought me these. So there's quite a lot in there, actually. I'm not going to do an unboxing because I'm sure you'll have seen it before, but you do get quite a lot in this box for the price. Can't find what to show you basically, but you get a Crusader. No, you don't. You get a Comet tank. There you go. There's a list. You get a second lieutenant, 4 infantry squads, light mortar, Vickers, 6-pounder, Piat team, mortar team, Cromwell tank and forward artillery observer. So They'll all be going on to the painting mountain, and I'll try and get into those as quickly as I can. But at the moment it's the American Civil War. And that's it, basically. Not a great deal to tell you beyond those things. I don't want to be too self-indulgent. At the back there, as a matter of interest, are some remaining British Napoleonics, which I dug out to use up some paint. I haven't got around to painting those either. I will do at some stage, though. And I think that's about it for the moment. So I hope your projects are all going well. And I hope you're having an enjoyable Easter, because it's Easter Sunday as I'm recording this. And I'm certainly watching some very interesting videos. Some of the stuff that you guys put out there is just staggering, and it's very inspirational actually to see it. Anyway, I'm waffling now. All the best to you all for Easter. I hope you and yours are all well. Have a lovely Easter time, and I'll get another video out as soon as I've done something worth showing you. Cheers for now. Bye.